good day and welcome to you all. Matthew here again. We have a Group 3 daily race at Nurburgring 24-hour layout, so it's the Nordschleife plus the GP circuit together. And this is the combo for the week. We've got no FIA races on at the moment, so doing a few more dailies. And I've always looked forward to this combo. The Nordschleife is great to race around, but I've been having a bit of trouble with it in GT Sport in particular. I haven't done a lot of laps in GT Sport, so I spent a bit extra time in the practice mode trying to get my lap time down. I've got it down to a 8 minute 12.8 or something like that. And it's been a bit of a struggle, in all honesty, trying to pull the time out of the Ferrari. I don't know if it's the Ferrari or me. I like to blame the car because, let's face it, who doesn't like to blame the car? You can just say it's off the pace and never competitive. But I was driving it because I know it has very good fuel life. It sips on the fuel. So by comparison to the other cars, I knew if it was going to be a fuel limited race, then the Ferrari will do quite well, even if it's off the pace by a little bit. So while I feel there's an 8 minute 10, 8 minute 9 lap time in the thing, I just cannot pull it out for the life of me. I guess I'm just pushing too hard and making mistakes in the qualifying time. But anyway, that didn't stop me. I went ahead with the race. I wasn't too sure. I know it's very heavy on the rear wear of the tyres, but with the settings at the moment, 7 times tyre wear is not an issue around here with this car. So thankfully, didn't have to worry about the tyres and just had to worry about fuel saving. I was being harassed very early on by the guy in 5th, the Mazda, and I was a little bit worried because this is the first race of the night, and you see him in the background just go wide there. It was very easy to go a bit too deep into that left-right combo and get a bit wide on the grass, and he did, and pitched it to the inside. So starting 4th, I wasn't sure where we were going to go. This is the first race of the night, as I said, first race with fuel in it. So I had no experience with fuel, so with the fuel weight and how that changes the car balance around the track. But initial impressions were good. It felt good. It didn't feel too far away from the time trial, which the Ferrari can do sometimes with some track combinations. So I was gaining a bit of confidence. I thought the top 3 might just pull away. The fastest guy in the room qualified on a 8:11.2 off the top of my head. And so I was within a ballpark, you know. So I thought I may have had a bit of a chance. But you never know for sure. And I thought that the top 3 might pull away, but I was still hanging on. They were only 2 seconds up the road, I think. And I think the furthest third got ahead of me was about 1 second. And I hovered around 1 second for most of the laps. Most of the laps is 2 laps. Most of the first lap. So yeah, so early going on was a bit promising, and watching the tyre wear was pretty good. And for the Ferrari, I only had to short shift a little bit to save enough fuel. Some cars were having to turn down their fuel mix, turn up to fuel map 2 or 3 to get round. But the Ferrari, even though it didn't quite have the qualifying pace, single lap pace, it was pretty good in the race for overall race pace. So I had some hope. So just a bit later on the lap, I had started reeling in 1st, 2nd and 3rd. I don't know whether it was my pace or more the fact that the Corvette up the front, I believe, was saving quite a bit of fuel and was holding up the Porsche and allowing me to close the door a bit. Close the gap a bit. Get the words right tonight, come on. So this was going well, I thought, coming to the end of the first lap. The Porsche, I think, hops the curb, pitches it sideways, and goes into the gravel, which is fantastic for me. Unfortunate for him, and very easy to do. It's such a fast corner, and very easy to get just a bit wrong. And when you're just off the line, things go wrong very quickly. And he was out. So just 2 ahead of me. Now, and I was just in the in the draft of 2nd place. And 1st place, as you can see, is not much further ahead. And so at this stage I was thinking the plan was not to play any silly games with draft and holding back on the slipstream, just to go past second place as quick as possible and hopefully hop him to then get into the draft of the Corvette. But the Lexus was a little bit slow through that right-hander. The Corvette took it a lot better and made enough of a gap. So I never quite got into his draft, and the Lexus just gets me back. But I believe he's also saving fuel, so it doesn't just fly by me. He may have a little bit more top-end speed than the Ferrari, or about the same. But I was a bit worried here. I was like, you don't want to go side by side through here. So while he sticks to his line, I just back off and let him have it. It's not worth the risk of trying to fight for this corner side by side. Somebody's going to end in the wall, somebody's going to end off the track, somebody's probably going to end up with a penalty. He had the high ground taking that right-hander, he had the inside line and therefore the better line into the braking zone, so I just gave up that place. Obviously have a look down into this one, go quite deep but not deep enough. He takes the chicane. I try to get a good drive. The Ferrari's very good out of that slow corner. Good acceleration. I didn't quite have the right line to really make them move. Have a look. I'm just really annoying him by now. Nearly run to the back of him there. But really just annoying him. I decided to cool off a bit because I'm not going to be able to make it past him, and it just gives first place more of a gap if we fight a lot. So it's not worth it. Just hang behind him. I figured I'd lost him for this round, and hopefully we'd both catch up to first place, and it's going to be a draft battle once again at the end of the long straight of Nurburgring. So now just inside the Nordschleife, at one of the first fast straight-ish parts of the track. The Lexus have gotten away on me a bit, and he reels in the Corvette quite quickly and goes side by side. I was like, is this gonna come off? But the Corvette lets him go, thankfully, because that's another corner you do not go side by side through. It ends in tears very quickly. So this had me worried because the Lexus had some decent pace by the looks of him, and I knew the Corvette was going to be a bit slower. He was saving fuel, so I was afraid that he was going to save fuel and hold me up and I wouldn't be able to get past him. Being the Nordschleife, it was very difficult to get past most of this part of the track. And so I thought the Lexus may get away at this stage and may not give me much of a chance to get first. Even though I didn't go in expecting first at all. In fact, third place and this position was a lot better than I anticipated at this stage. At this point in the race, I had the pace and I was rearing to go and wanted first place. So I needed to get past this Corvette. So halfway around the lap, coming up to the next fast bit, which is possible to overtake on. I was lining up the Corvette and I geared a little bit sideways on that curb. Bit of a silly error, gives him a bit of breathing room, and he's back in the draft of the Lexus. I think that may have caused this issue, where he just goes a bit too deep on the brakes and off. So thankfully for me, I didn't have to go past him down here, which is tricky to do at the best of times. And now I can just focus on the Lexus. I really just had to close him up over the back half of the circuit to get within slipstream range for the final straight. Jumping ahead to the final part of the race, I start to catch the Lexus ahead quite nicely. At the last point I was about 1.2, 1.3 seconds just after the Corvette went off, and I obviously reeled him in over the last part of the track and pulled in quite nicely behind him. So, you know, half a second or so, no problem at all to get the slipstream down the straight. You've got to be within about 7/10 from memory to have a decent effect from the slipstream. But the straight here is long enough, and if I have higher end top speed, then I'll be able to make up enough of a difference anyway. So now this is where the slipstream games come in. Really, you don't want to, as you saw in the first lap, you don't want to go past too early. Because the straight is so long, they can tuck in behind you and overtake you, no problem at all. So it's just a matter of holding off to the left and picking the moment to get in behind the slipstream and get past him. I'd actually thought I'd picked my moment a bit too late, so I was a little bit worried. But he pulls to the inside, which is sensible. I go around the outside, he plays it fair, gives me the room, just, and I'm ahead going into this combination of corners. Brake hard on the brakes, he gives me a bit of a tap, not to worry. Nice and slow in the apex, and just have to drive out of that last corner to take the checkered flag. So that was it. I was really unexpected with the result. Going in, I would have been happy with a 4th or 5th. I never know what to think with a Ferrari. Like, sometimes it gives you some optimism going into the race. Makes you feel like you're going to win everything and beat everybody. But then tyre wear lets you down or something silly like that. But I kept the car under control, kept the rear in line. The tyre wear is not too bad at all. So the Ferrari quite handily handles 2 laps around Nordschleife with the racing hards, and the way the car just sips away at fuel allows me to attack a lot harder and have higher speed than a lot of the cars around me. So yeah, I did 4 races tonight, all with very similar results. The car performs great around here, so looking forward to doing more of it later in the week. Until then, thank you for coming along, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.